Good afternoon. I was going to say good morning, but no, we're in the afternoon here in the UK. I'm your host, John Scott, joined on this special Powered for preview and news for WrestleMania that will take place tonight. And I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Mike Maddog Angus. How you doing, Mike? And good to have you with us today.
Thank you, John. Yeah, absolutely brilliant as always. Really excited for Mania this evening. Cannot wait. I've managed to catch a lot of the action in the week leading up to it as well. So we've had NXT, we had SmackDown last night, and in the time as well, I've managed to get me COVID jab out of nowhere.
There you go.
So, got that.
You'll remember this WrestleMania.
That's it, exactly. Well, I would tell you what. Last night I was a little bit hot and a bit shaky, so I was watching SmackDown in the middle of the night over here, and I was sitting there like this watching it. But guess what?
Go on.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell, baby.
I knew there was something coming up. I was just literally laid up, and he dunked it on me easily. No, good to know that you're feeling better today, Mike. That's fantastic news, and that's great for everybody hearing that as well, I'm sure. Of course, this is WrestleMania. I said it before when we first started our week on Wednesday. It's gone from a day to a weekend to a freaking week. So we've been very, very busy here on Powered 4 TV, but been enjoying it. But there's been a lot to cover, no doubt about it. And I've got to say, I haven't had that feeling of WrestleMania until I woke up today and I saw some of the screenshots that had been, posted out, and then WWE themselves put out the opening of WrestleMania, the set, like they like to do now. And, it kind of got me more in the mood. I guess it's always the spectacle. But I would say that this is probably one of the few WrestleManias where I've been like, I don't know, there's just nothing that grabs me in, that captivates me. But having said that, Michael, what that normally means is that going in with low expectations can only mean one thing, I hope, which is I'll be coming out and be happily surprised with a bit of luck. What about for you, Mike? Have you been sort of like engaged with WWE and the whole build to WrestleMania? Or have you kind of been in and out? Well, where do you stand?
Yeah, well, when we were doing the Wrestling Travel podcast, I was literally watching every single show every week. So I was well up to date with it. And then just the last couple of weeks, I've been, oh, here's Lewis. Hi, Lewis. Good to see you. I've been popping in and out, keeping an eye on everything that's going on. I felt like the build from the Royal Rumble to the to WrestleMania was slightly, a bit staggered. I felt like Fastlane was a bit of a roadblock for it, but I think the way they've built it's been pretty good. There's been feuds bubbling through, a few storylines there, which is good. I think the excitement level hasn't quite been there, but today the excitement level's here because we're going to have fans back in. They've built that giant pirate ship, on the stage, which I love a good set design, and that is looking great. I've seen people on Twitter saying that they hope Kairi Sane and Paul Burchill will be on the pirate ship later tonight, so we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah, almost 16 years too early there, I think, or whatever it is.
Yeah, but I've been looking at the betting odds. We've got the Grand National on here today in the UK, so I've put all my bets on for that. And then I was looking at the how the wrestling odds compare to that, and we were just saying before off screen, weren't we, that the odds, it's really tough to bet on the wrestling anymore because I think they've gotten wind of the fact that you can really see what could happen. So
the
odds aren't very good for betting unless you pick sort of 5 winners and put it into an accumulator sort of style thing. It's and even then you're only getting 2 to 1. So compared to the national today, where we've got 100 to 1 horses running and stuff, it's a completely different story. So but we'll see. There's some matches tonight that I'm excited for, and I think it's going to be a great show. I was trying to predict what order they were going to do the card in, and then they've actually revealed some of it. So I'm happy to say that I was right in my predictions of what they're going with so far. Mm-hmm. And obviously SmackDown last night had a good show. Monday I didn't think Raw was that good a go home show, to be honest. Compared to other Monday Night Raws that were just, the one before WrestleMania was always huge, wasn't it? I thought it was a bit of a slow show, but then SmackDown, apart from the few bits which were just like clips, I thought SmackDown was a good build-up. It was like a pre-show for Mania, and really, the triple threat, they built that really well. Daniel Bryan, Edge, and Roman Reigns, all with great little speeches building up their matches, all with decent stuff to say. And yeah, I'm excited for it, mate. Can't wait. Looking forward.
Yeah, just you mentioning about the whole betting and all the rest. I remember WrestleMania 30, Brock Lesnar and the Undertaker. Well, I'll
40
put a
to 1.
punt on Brock. I'll put that punt on. I think I remember walking away with £300. But it was a total. I really didn't expect it. It was just a good odd out of everything, and it kind of paid off. So I was still in shock, but obviously. And I still felt sad, even though I'd won some money. So there you go. That says it all, doesn't it, about the Undertaker?
Yeah, soften the blow a little bit, but I still think
yeah,
it's like one of the worst booking decisions ever. But
yeah, I was going to say that
is.
streak. For a long time, the bookies never questioned it going away. So it goes to show they did do it without us kind of foreseeing it coming. They did a pretty good job at surprising everybody, let's put it that way. But yes, as you say, Michael, we're all about tonight. Of course, want to let everybody know immediately following this show, we'll hope to be wrapped up by 2 p.m. Of course, we will be starting our Powered 4 showcase. Now that starts at 2 p.m. available on our YouTube and Facebook page, and we're basically going to be dropping a match on the hour until 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. will be the last one. But you can keep coming, diving in and out, have some conversations. Let us know about tonight's WrestleMania. There's going to be some good stuff from the likes of Chicagoland Championship Wrestling. Mike, of course, ring announcer for TNT Extreme Wrestling. I believe you feature quite heavily on this one, Mike. So you've got yourself out there. Oh yeah, you got yourself out there. We've also got Pro Wrestling Clash, which is a real hidden gem that not too many people know about. I'll give everybody a heads up now. 1PW, we've got a tremendous match between a wrestler called Sewer, for anybody that remembers him, and he's going up against Bryan Danielson, which is a really great match. Of course, Daniel Bryan, as he's known today, but I thought we got to have him in there, seeing as he's added into that triple threat tonight. So tomorrow. So. Why not? But yeah, check that out. 2 p.m. immediately following this, and always more to come. We're giving a fantastic code away only for this weekend. WrestleMania special, 90% off of Powered4.TV for your first month. So that's 90%. I think that works out 97 pence. So go and sign up right now. So less than £1. Go and sign up. If you want more wrestling, you want to get more fix after WrestleMania's done, check out what we've got. Have a scope through it, because, of course, we're hoping very shortly, Mike, that we're going to have some more content coming in, especially in the UK, in the not too distant future, let's hope. So check that out with the promotional code. And the promotional code, by the way, is very simple: showcase. So literally go on over to the platform, enter in the promotional code, and you're away. But Mike, let's get down to things. Let's get down to going through some of these matches tonight. And also, I've got another announcement. I've got to get off the bat. I'm not too good at this. I've got to get it all out at once here. I need Stu Palmer. I tell you, I need Stewie here. I was going to say we're going to have some great WWE content coming to Powered4.TV, something we've recently worked out with those guys. Stay tuned to that over this weekend, because that's going to be coming. You're going to see a bit of behind the scenes and some press. So stay tuned on our channel for that, over available on YouTube. So let's just go to our first match. No particular order here, Mike. No particular order, but what when you see this, Bad Bunny, of course, he's been around for a while now. In WWE, they've certainly put their eggs in a basket with this fella. They made it into a tag team match recently, which is where I thought they were going originally anyway. So I was surprised when they did say it was Miz versus Bad Bunny one-on-one. The fact that it's a tag match, I can kind of accept it a little bit more. It's not flying off the page at me as something that I can't wait to see. However, it's WrestleMania. WWE, they like to have this kind of outside, people coming in to create a little bit more interest. I don't personally know too much about Bad Bunny, if I'm honest. That might be my age. So I know he's a very big deal. He's got a huge following, and I guess that demographic of younger people will probably hit with him. So it's a smart move there for WWE. I'm always a bit of an old school thing here, Mike. I like to see celebrities, but I don't like it. I don't want to see like Jay Leno when he was beating up Hulk Hogan in WCW. I don't want to see anything like that because I just think it exposes all the great wrestlers and all the hard work they do. But where are you? Where's your thoughts with this one? Is this intrigued you at all, or have you paid too much attention to this match?
Yeah, well, I looked into it straight away because Royal Rumble he appeared first, didn't he, singing his Booker T song, and I thought, oh, here's Stewie, all right, Stu.
There he is. I bet he's got something to say about this.
I bet he has, yeah. But
actually, while Stewie's there, let's get it out. There we go. Superman, Stewie's wrestling podcast. Go and check it out right now. I don't do enough good advertising for him. There you go. See, we got you covered, Stu. Sorry, Michael, interrupting you there.
Hey, not a problem at all. I was just I might as well throw that in now. It's Hooked on Wrestling's wrestling T-shirt day today, isn't it? Hence why I've got all the T-shirts up. I needed to decide which one I was going to wear, so I've got them all. Stewie's is up on the wall. His is my Easter special. It's the yellow one. So, look, very perfect for Easter last weekend. I had that on. And, I've got some cool wrestling T-shirts. So I'll be putting one of them on for probably the end of the era. End of an era WrestleMania 28 T-shirt that I've got just behind me from I got in Miami. I'll probably wear that one later on today for Mania. Get in the mood. But back to Bad Bunny. He's got a huge following. He's got that Latino audience that WWE will be looking for, to get them watching. And you know what? I've heard that he's a big wrestling fan. He's been very respectful. He's done he's been involved for quite a long time now, and I've heard he's been training at the Performance Center, doing his best. As long as he, does his best, that's what I look forward to seeing. Putting Damian Priest in there, it's kept Damian hasn't done as much as I'd expected because of that, but he's in the match tonight. Hopefully, it'll give him a chance to shine. Bad Bunny, hopefully, he'll dive in, do a few bits, and get out the way for Priest. And Miz and John Morrison always are going to deliver at WrestleMania. Hopefully, they'll take their moment to shine, and there'll be some exciting stuff happening from that. Card wise, I've got a feeling that could be quite. There's quite a lot of tag matches on the card. So when I was writing it down before and looking what I thought it was going to be like, I was thinking it could go on straight after if Lashley and Drew open the show, which is what we were expecting. The Bad Bunny match could go straight on after that, or it could be pushed back later on. But I think they'll separate them tag matches and have because the way it looks is you've got Cesaro, Rollins, and you've got Strowman and Shane, which would fit in perfectly in between the 3 tag matches, you see. So I think the card will look like that. So Bad Bunny and Miz could be just before the main event, which would make sense because, there could be an audience who are watching for Bad Bunny. And if you put it near the end of the card, then they've got to watch the whole show, haven't they? So, that could go on just before the main. And it could be a bit of a, it's still exciting, but it could be a bit of a break just before the main event. So we'll have to see. But that's where I anticipate that one to fall there. And I do think, prediction-wise, I do think Priest and Bad Bunny, the way it's been building, have got to go over, really, as well. So as you want to keep your wrestlers, obviously, Miz and Morrison looking strong, but I don't think it's going to hurt either of them to take a loss. And I think it could be, they could do something quite cool and clever with that. So we'll have to see. It could be an interesting one.
Yeah, great point you mentioned as well about the way the card will be laid out. I mean, I always think part of a great WrestleMania for me, especially since it's become a marathon, is the pacing. And if it's off, it can kind of take you out of the whole show. It doesn't really matter what match. And especially when there's more fans, I always felt like sometimes they put matches out that, you're expecting the fans would be more into. But it's because they're kind of like their energy levels have been zapped from like the first couple of hours of just seeing so many things happen. But yeah, hopefully they'll do the pacing quite well. I would love to see an opening title match, Lashley and Drew come out first. I just think that makes more sense, rather than stacking everything up towards the end. Because I just think WrestleMania, back in the day it was fine, but now you're trying to do 2 nights and, you know what I mean? Like back then we had like maybe 1 or 2 at best real icon sort of matches to look forward to as what you'd call box office. But nowadays we got stacks of them, so it's like you have to be a bit more careful. There aren't as many matches where you say, oh, that's a mid-card match. Everything now sort of means something, and they try and do that as much as possible. One thing I'll add before I give my predictions on this one, Mike, obviously last night on SmackDown they did the Andre the Giant battle memorial match, and of course Uso coming out the winner there. A lot of people have picked that between him and Nakamura, but I'm kind of glad they've got that out of the way, because I don't like to see too many of these kind of just matches there for the sake of people turning up on, just so they can go out. So I am pleased they've used SmackDown in a way where we can kind of skip over that. And I think tonight is only a 1 hour kickoff, so that's not too bad either, because even that can go on forever sometimes, and that just takes you out. But I've got to say, I'm with you, Mike. I think it only makes sense that Bad Bunny will get the victory. I've got a feeling he'll probably pin as well. It'd be nice if they let Priest, but I've got a feeling they're gonna have Bad Bunny do it. But as you say, Miz and Morrison, especially the Miz, I think he's such a good performer, really good company guy, and it'll be great to see them. I mean, at least they're being used, which is good. And like you say, they could be watched by a lot of eyes, in particular with that one. So yeah, good match coming up there. Don't forget, guys, let us know what you think as well, who you think are going to win these matches. Now this is one of those ones I was just mentioning about throwing everybody in to get everybody out. But there's some stakes, at least, at the end of this, because the winner of this tag team match, of course, this gauntlet type situation here, goes on to night 2 to face for the women's tag team belts. So at least there's something on the line for. But it is a bit of it's one of those matches. I've got a feeling this could go on the kickoff, if I'm being honest, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure they're going to have a kickoff show, as a normal one with a match on it. I'm thinking that they'll probably go with clips.
You think that?
Building it up, and then they'll be saving the crowd and the pop for the guys who deserve it the most, which is Lashley and McIntyre, who've literally, really carried the company and been dominant over the time while it's been in the Thunderdome and everything. Two guys who've pushed right to the top of the card and have really excelled themselves at that tough time, and I think they deserve the adulation of the crowd and that big pop. I wouldn't be surprised, if they do things in the normal way. McIntyre would be the first man out at Mania, which would be huge. After last year, he didn't get to celebrate with the crowd. If he comes out first tonight, and I think that pop is something he's earned. And Lashley as well has been brilliant, hasn't he? So, I would expect that match to go on first. I think it might have been announced that it is going to be first now. I've seen it on Twitter, people saying that, but I don't think I saw a full confirmation of it. But I would assume that's going to go on first, and I would say to have the ladies the tag match straight after that, because that's a good spot for that on the show, I think. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did Carmella and Billie Kay get added as a 5th tag team on SmackDown last night?
I believe they may have done that. That's an old photo there I have, so that could possibly be right. I'll check that out now.
I was literally in some sort of fever last night watching that, so it wasn't the most.
He doesn't know if he's dreamed it. Yeah, could have been something he made up in his head.
Yeah, definitely dreaming of Billie Kay with a resume.
That's it. Is there anyone that's you'd think would make good opponents, or you could see the potential for WWE to say, right, you could potentially become the new champions, or is it going to be more of a showcase for tomorrow night's match and getting them over?
I was going to say, I think all of these teams have done quite a lot of progression this year, really. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose have been a lot better than the past. Dana especially looking very athletic and good in her match. I think one that would really make sense would be Natalya and Tamina, because they're sort of a similar-ish team to Nia and Shayna. And Natalya obviously is deserving of a moment like that. Liv and Ruby Riott are doing all sorts. And but the team that I think I personally would like to see win would be Lana and Naomi, who I think have really put great work in, and Lana especially has improved dramatically, I feel, and getting put through the table all the times. I think that story, out of all of them, is the one that would make sense for them to go and face Nia Jax and Shayna on the second night. And so I'd be rooting for Lana and Naomi in that one to, just to carry on that story and give that a good ending at Mania, and really to show that they've worked so hard, and they have. Naomi coming back from injury, and she's always been a great potential star, but really hasn't had that big breakout. And now she's took Lana under her wing, and Lana's improved dramatically and everything. I think it makes sense for them to win that, really, more so than any of the other teams. Although I have enjoyed both Carmella and Billie Kay's work on SmackDown recently, both been really entertaining, both with Carmella with Reginald and in her feud with Sasha Banks. And Billie Kay, obviously, with the whole resume thing's been absolutely brilliant. Hopefully she'll provide a bit of a comedy moment tonight. Where they'll stand with the being there. Obviously, there'll be, I don't know if it's a tornado tag match or if they're going to be on the apron. It'll be a bit crowded out there for that one.
It's just tag team turmoil, so whatever that. I mean, WWE changes their stipulations a lot with what the rules are, but Kamala and Billie Kay have that are in, so but I've got to say, I mean, looking at these odds, mate, that Lana and Naomi, they're flat out favourites. I suppose realistically, you'd kind of see that WWE have been kind of going that way with those two. But like you say, I'd probably, if I was looking at a match, a quality match for night 2, I'd probably go with Natty and Tamina. Like you say, I think they've got a little bit more chemistry, and there's quite a bit. I mean, Natty, I think she's on some crazy record as well. I mean, from last year, I think she made the record of like most consecutive appearances, I believe, and now this is another one to add to it. So she's always there. She's always involved. I kind of always feel that Natty is always underused, but I've been saying that for years, and I don't know if I'm just barking on about the same thing, but I think she's such a great performer, and she was almost, again, when she debuted, she was almost a few years too early, because, had she come in when the women were really taking the shine at the top like they are now, I think she would have been much more of a bigger star than she's a huge star. Don't get me wrong, but I think her name would be up there with the likes of Charlotte right now, and we'd be looking at her in that mix of things. But my brain says Lana and Naomi, if I'm honest. But I'd like to see Natty and Tamina. But a good match nonetheless. This one, I'll say this one I've really got my eye on. I hope they get enough time, and that is Cesaro and Seth Rollins. Of course, this is a bit of a, for any ROH fans out there, Tyler Black, Cesaro, back from them days, in their time at Ring of Honor. This is a sort of a dream match for those people. However, whenever I see something like this, Mike, I always think back to sort of Nakamura and AJ Styles, how I wanted that to be more, and it never really was. So it does depend on, have they got enough time to tell the story, how are WWE going to produce it, etc., etc. I'm hoping, because there's 2 nights, they're going to get a decent amount of time. But Cesaro, amazingly, this is his first singles outing at WrestleMania, and a long time coming, I'd say. I remember this guy winning the battle, Andre the Giant Battle Memorial, and I thought after he got linked with Heyman, I thought, wow, this is it, sky's the limit, they're going to really push him. Of course, that ended up being an absolute nightmare at the end of it.
It's time really for him to impress and to shine on this stage. Huge for him. Rollins has obviously delivered at Mania numerous times. Great wrestler, Seth Rollins, and glad he's back from his injury worries. And this has been built pretty well, this feud. The only match I wasn't too sure about was, I felt like Nakamura sort of got sold down the river a little bit, because he was sort of involved in this storyline for a bit with Rollins, and I felt like that match was a bit too easy for Rollins, to be honest, and didn't Nakamura could have probably been used better in that, to be fair. But Cesaro, well deserving of the chance, and I just hope, I'm pretty sure he will deliver, and that's why that was when we spoke with SP3 the other day. I said that's the match I'm really looking forward to on the card tonight. I think it's got the potential to be a show stealer, and good on them. They've done so well coming up from from Ring of Honor, and been they've both had great tales and stories to tell. And I just think tonight should be a crowning achievement for
Let
them.
me ask you this, Mike, just to cut in there. If Cesaro was to get the victory, like the bookies are saying, basically, if he gets that, did WWE put some investment into this guy and he gets something towards the top, or is it just going to be he's won, but we're going to just have him in that semi-main event kind of status? Could this be another launch pad for him coming out of a WrestleMania, fresh start on Raw? Let's go with somebody new. Could that have that knock-on effect, or do you think this is just going to be, we haven't got anything else for these two guys to do, and it's just luck has had it? You can wrestle each other. I'm hoping it's not the latter, but what do you think?
Yeah, prediction-wise, I was going to say for Cesaro to go over in this one. It doesn't hurt Seth Rollins losing this match, and yeah, I think it'll give a springboard for Cesaro to push on towards championship, whether it's Raw or SmackDown. I would think he'd be a good opponent for Roman Reigns with the current character he's portraying. He'd also be a good challenge for for Edge if Edge goes over in that triple threat match. And it would make sense as well for him to face Daniel Bryan again, because Lewis just asking what do we think of the stage. I thought it looked absolutely awesome, Lewis. Looking forward to see it in its full glory. I'm hoping them cannons fire fireworks out of them and all sorts, so it should be good.
Yeah, it does look very, very impressive. Very impressive.
And back to Cesaro. Obviously, he's been doing the swing and everything, and Rollins has been selling that. Rollins has had some very snazzy suits the last couple of weeks, so I've got a few. I got a few suits myself. I think he's been. I think Stewie Palmer said he's been on Boohoo.
There you go, Rambo 77.619. I'm buzzing after I saw the shots of the sub. I mean, see, that's what I said at the start of the show. It sort of got me sucked in a bit. But here's the thing. I mean, look, I made a fatal mistake last year, Mike. What I did was on my old podcast is I was doing a 30-day lead up, dropping every day, and I was doing watch-alongs of all the old WrestleMania matches. So, of course, you got 70, 80,000 people at these events. I get to that WrestleMania, and I'm like, oh, my God.
There's no one here.
It was just, my brain could not comprehend what was happening. So, yeah, but seeing this set up, what they've been able to do this year, I knew they would be able to do it, because after watching the Super Bowl, I thought Vince is going to want to go one better. So hopefully, with 25,000 in there, it's going to make a lot of difference. I'm sure it will, pretty much. I'm all out on Cesaro on this one, and I hope he gets a bit of a push after it. Let's hope. Next up, tag team match, the New Day. Absolutely synonymous at the minute, really, with tag team wrestling, whether it's Big E in the mix at sometimes, but this time Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston defending the belts. And the funny thing is, Mike, everyone always harps on, when are they going to split up, and wouldn't it be good if he turns, or I'm like, what's happened? Like, it's more original today if a group can stay together, and they don't have to have a breakup. I'm like, that's what made the whole Horseman thing so good back in the day, is the fact that, like, nowadays we are almost educated. As soon as there's a faction put together, everyone's thinking, oh, that'll be a really good payoff match when such and such gets. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, why can't we just have a group that just stick together as brothers or sisters, and that's it? They fight all the time for one another. Like, why have we always got to get to that payoff? But I think it's just the way the audience is conditioned these days, unfortunately, in all that. Now, of course,
blame the Rockers, isn't it, John?
Yeah, exactly. It comes back to that. Now, AJ Styles and Umas, of course, is involved in this very impressive figure. Now, it's a lot different. AJ Styles in a tag match is sort of something we haven't sort of always seen, especially at the Granddaddy so far. But, AJ Styles, without question, one of the most favorite wrestlers of mine. So it's always great to see him. Are you surprised he didn't get anything else, or are you happy to see him, in this spot against the New Day and putting a bit of shine on those guys, I guess?
Well, he is phenomenal, AJ Styles. I remember we spoke about 1PW earlier, but I was at university in Leeds at the time when 1PW was running Doncaster just down the road. So I used to go to quite a lot of their shows and was lucky enough to see Samoa Joe AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels in a triple threat, just after they'd had the one in Impact, and those guys, stole the show. Still one of the best matches I've ever seen live in my life, and I just know AJ Styles can steal the show, and I think it would have been nice to see him in a singles match, against someone possibly like a Cesaro or a Nakamura, but he's doing this, bringing Omos through. I'll be interested to see how he performs. I don't want him to be like, Great Khali at WrestleMania 23, which was a real struggle for me to watch live in Detroit.
I wonder why.
So I've seen bits and bobs of him, and he's looked really good. He's 7 foot tall, genuine athlete. And as you said about the New Day, I'm happy with them staying as a tag team and being a force of positivity, and just show us what they can do and bring some joy to the tag team division. But I do think it would, Omos and AJ could be a Big Daddy Cool Heartbreak Kid sort of storyline tonight. Omos could let the phenomenal one down and cause all sorts of chaos. But for now, I'm sort of edging towards Omos and AJ Styles picking up the win and picking up the titles to build that feud further for now. And then, I do think at some point down the line, there's going to be, Omos' potential to break out there as the Diesel of that storyline. But that's something we'll have to see in the future. But I don't think, I think the titles could change hands tonight, and it would make sense for them too. And the New Day, I don't see them splitting up, but stranger things have happened.
I hope not, because at this point it's like it's kind of like the point where we got with John Cena. It's like they're never going to turn him heel. We have to accept it or we don't. But they just got to a point, I think, where they was like, this guy, we ain't ever doing it, And I think that's the same. I think that's to be the same with New Day. I remember when New Day first got together, and remember they come out as baby faces and everyone booed them out of the building. It was only until they become heels, everybody started to enjoy them, because I think they basically got turned around and, said, like, we'll just have to make best what we can. And that's when they was able to express themselves. But it wasn't a great thing when they first put them together. It was very, here you go out there and let the fans cheer for you. It never worked. But since they've basically... they've been absolutely unbelievable, and they do so much good stuff with their commercial side of it as well. I mean, anything they sell in terms of the toys, in terms of the food, and goodness knows what else they've done. The Bootios, of course, everybody will remember them. I mean, they've sold, so it's like they're good together. I wouldn't break them up at this point. I think it would be pretty stupid. Keep them together, just freshen them up every now and then. Of course, Big E's got a single, so it's like that's working out for them as well. But it's kind of cool to see Xavier involved, because sometimes when it was a tag team, it was more or less Big E and Kofi, and Xavier outside with the trumpet and all the rest of it. So it's good to see that. I'm with you. I think new tag team champions tonight in AJ and Omos, and it reminds me the Shawn Michaels stigma. I guess he had Sid as well at one point as the bodyguard. You remember, and that was a similar thing.
Times, didn't he?
Exactly, but Lewis Young, on the other hand, he's gone for a New Day win. So there you go, Lewis. There's some you never know. It's definitely not a sure thing, that's for sure. Let's move on then. Go on, mate.
I was just going to say, sorry, there's a lot of matches tonight that they could just go for ultimate positivity and have New Day over. They could have Bianca Belair over. There could be a lot of positives from the show, but then that wouldn't be wrestling, would it? You can't have that other side of things.
I agree with you, but I'm not going to tell you why until we get to the last match that we'll preview, because it'll kind of give it away a little bit about how I'm going with that winner. But I think you're on the right lines there, Mike. Just want to let everybody know, don't forget Powered4.TV. Immediately following this Powered 4 showcase, a match dropping on the hour from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. and yours truly will be there. And also Mike Angus is doing some great voiceover work for us as well. Does a great job of introducing it. So I want to get everybody over there. And of course, for those people that haven't seen Powered 4 SP3, Mike, you did a great spoof on WrestleMania 6, which is just the most out loudish, craziest promo that you're probably ever going to see before a WrestleMania start. The stars aligning, the universes, and Ultimate Warrior and Hogan somehow are involved in all this. But some crazy times back then, I'm sure. The thing is, whenever I see or hear Vince McMahon's voice, I just imagine him sitting there with a mic like this, just giving it everything, and then probably just getting up and going to the gym or something. What's next? It's the type of guy he is. Next up, we're going to go with this one. Bobby Lashley, who of course has, he's been on a great run. They've protected this guy for a while. However, I was not a massive fan of them splitting up the Hurt Business. I kind of question that a little bit because I just think that close to WrestleMania, it's not the sort of thing that normally happens. If they'd have done it at, say, Fastlane or I don't know, like Chamber, whatever, like something before that, I can kind of understand, or the night after WrestleMania. But to do it 2 weeks out seemed a bit of an odd choice, and it's almost like, I don't know. Then he's beating him up the next week. It's almost like a babyface rub, if anything, that they've given Bobby Lashley there. But Drew McIntyre, of course, the UK zone last year was very much about the ending for him. I think, if we're being honest, Mike, and I'm sure this is not something that most people don't know, Drew McIntyre has very much been placed in a position where most fans believe he's going to go back there to reclaim the belt, but also get that sort of roar from the crowd, get that moment. Because again, I went back and watched last year's, mate. I tell you, no matter how hard you tried, it was flat. It was so hard. And I'm sure Drew, it was a moment for him, but it can't really be like, well, I was just in a performance center, there was a wall here. I mean, it's just not the same feeling, is it? And it was pre-taped. So again, he would have won it, but then he's got to wait like 6 days to get anybody tweet anything or whatever. So it's a hard thing to win your first title like that. So I get kind of why they're doing it, but I just don't think they've done a very good job with the whole Bobby Lashley thing, because it does seem a little bit like he could just, he might just be sort of, we've had the Miz win it, he gave it up a week, whatever it was after. Is this another transitional champion, Mike? Is this what we've got here? Or is there any possibilities you feel that Bobby Lashley could retain in some way that still gets Drew over? I mean, I guess there's a DQ ending they could do where Drew wins but doesn't win the title. That's the only way out of it. And also to think that this is going to go on, it's not going to main event. We know that much. So that thing you was talking about earlier, Mike, about happy endings going into night 2, I don't think it has to be there, but it would be quite surprising if he didn't come out with a title. But I might be going off on one here. But Mike, what about for you? Is this clear cut Drew McIntyre wins?
This is one I was really debating over, and as well the Hurt Business split up really. We spoke to SP3 the other day, and it does seem like for them to break them up like that makes me still think there might be some shenanigans going on. But they did beat him up this week, so I don't know. But I'm still not 100% convinced that that's all over with.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might be leading us on some sort of merry chase where MVP turns out to be the mastermind of this whole plan. I still the bounty is still out on Drew McIntyre. I could see. I thought Keith Lee might come back and cause some havoc for Drew, but it doesn't seem to be happening for Keith at the moment. And I can only go with McIntyre winning this one at the moment, but and to start the show off in a very positive way. I think Bobby Lashley's been amazing this year, and this almighty character that he's got has really broken the mold and broke out for him. I was around for his first big push when he broke the master lock, and he was he fought Umaga at WrestleMania 23 in Detroit. I was there for that one, so I know how big Bobby Lashley can be. He's been great, he was great in Impact. And here's Stewie. Mike tipped Lashley way back in 2019. It's true. On a podcast with Stu, must have been probably episode 5 of Stu's Wrestling Podcast. I said, Bobby Lashley's always there or thereabouts, and he needs to break out. It's happened now, but I could see I could see Drew winning the title this evening, but I think Bobby Lashley should carry on in the storyline and head towards, shows later on in the year as the number one contender. I think he's done great as the character, and I think it's not going to hurt him too much losing to Drew on the biggest stage of them all, as long as the feud continues. What we don't want is that whole thing to drop off, and it is odd what they've done with Shelton and Cedric, and I do think they could be involved in some way tonight. Still, they were banned originally. They were banned from ringside. Is this a way to work around that because the hair business doesn't exist anymore? Well, hang on, here they are. It's not the hair business anymore. It's just Cedric and Shelton. Do they hate Bobby Lashley, or are they still working him? Or there's possibilities of shenanigans still for that one.
You're booking heads on there, Mike, I reckon.
We'll have to see you. But
Lewis going with Drew. Drew go to win, he believes. So there you go. Lloyd, on the other hand, says, I want to see Bobby win. So there's some conflicting stuff. I think this one's a hard one, Mike, to be honest with you. And I, like you, have been 50-50. The odds as well, there's not much in it. Drew's favourite, but not a lot.
13-8 for Lashley, 4-9 for Drew. So it's much of a muchness with the odds. So who are you picking, John?
I'm gonna go Drew McIntyre winning the title. Yeah, Drew McIntyre winning the title. But I wouldn't be too fussed if Drew was to win but not win the title, to keep it going, keep the chase going, because sometimes the chase is always better than the catch. And I would still like it where fans can still get behind Drew and go along with his ride. He never got that either, don't forget, when he won the Rumble. He never got that big sort of we got it at the beginning, but towards WrestleMania, that build part, we didn't see it as much. So we don't really know where maybe the large proportion of fans lie with someone like Drew McIntyre. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, we all think that everyone's on board with Drew, but I'm sure there's a certain part as well that are like, they're chucking it down our throat a bit. So you have to be careful in WWE because the way they've presented people, i.e. Roman Reigns and all the rest of it, you have to be very careful how you do it. Yeah. So my brain's telling me Drew McIntyre, but I would not be hurt if Bobby retained the title in some crazy fashion, because I just think Bobby Lashley, if he loses this, I can see him going straight back down. Yeah.
The cream will rise to the top. The cream's going to rise to the top, brother.
There we go. Look, no expenses spared on this show. Okay, we got props, we got everything we need there. No expenses on this show. I was wondering what on earth you were pulling out. Fantastic. All right, let's move on with another match then. This one, I got to say, when this was announced, this is another one of those ones I was thinking, oh my God. Braun Strowman up against Shane O'Mac, becoming almost Mr. WrestleMania 2, Shane O'Mac, because he gets these matches now sort of every year coming in there. He's even faced AJ Styles before. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Now, of course, what we shouldn't forget, and I know that WWE like to sometimes have a short memory, is that last year Braun Strowman won the title from Bill Goldberg in a match that had 5 moves, and 3 and 2 of them were the same. But Braun comfortably beat Bill Goldberg quite fast. So in that sense, I'm thinking, well, how long is this going to take in a steel cage match? But I know how WWE will go, and obviously there's going to be more to it than 2-3 minutes. So right there, it's almost like they're telling us Shane he's on the same level as Bill Goldberg now in their eyes, obviously. Another moment, I'm sure, where Shane O'Mac is going to do some terrifying stunt off of this cage, and that's the only reason I can assume they've done it. Of course, this is only the second time it's going to be used at a WrestleMania, which is quite a weird thing to think about. But yes, only since WrestleMania 2. King Kong Bundy, great match, by the way. I checked that out. That's with the more iconic one. That's the more toy-looking one, the blue structure, which I used to really like because you could see in it more. But yeah, maybe they should bring that
The
back. Now, if
wrestlers
they
didn't
bring
like
that
it, though,
back,
did they?
no, but if they bring that back, I'll let them off. But this isn't one I'm looking forward to, because I just think I do like Shane, but I don't think that he should always be involved with stuff unless it makes real sense. I tell you a match that would make real sense. It's another guy who's not on the card here, Triple H. Now, if they book Triple H and Shane with everything they could do on the build-up about, a bit of jealousy, my dad give you this, I went away and done that in China and all the rest of it, there's some good kind of half-hearted shoot involved with it. But this whole thing about just Braun's stupid and he turns up, it's like, where has this come from? This story makes no sense. I don't get how we've got to this point. Go on, Mike. What do you think about this? I mean, am I just being a bit harsh, or what is this all about?
I think Strowman is underutilized. I think he's one of the best
100%
big guy wrestlers there's ever been. He's a company guy. He's a great guy. You see him on Instagram and all that, doing bits and bobs with his cars and everything. He is, a proper American, big guy, great wrestler. And I think they could do so much more with him, but I don't understand why he's, utilized the way he is. This storyline baffles me. It's great to have Shane O'Mac come in and have a match. He always puts on a show. He never disappoints Shane, but it is random, and it is, the whole thing of calling him an idiot, I thought was pretty poor storytelling, unnecessary.
Yeah.
He slimed him as well, and just he was buying into that. Nickelodeon, is that for a kids' audience or what? Is it because is Shane meant to be a heel or a face? There is Strowman meant to be a heel or a face?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
The thing is, it will deliver. It'll be a steel cage match at WrestleMania, and it could steal the show. But as well, it's just I like things to make sense, and I like it to have a good build and a storyline. And I think this has lacked in that aspect of it. But then it's WrestleMania; it could surprise you and just end up being great WrestleMania moments for both of them, and it could propel Strowman onto more. It could bring Shane back in storylines or anything. But for looking at it leading up to it, it's been disappointing from the start. And when did it even start? Has any of it made sense? Was Strowman injured, and then it was a way of trying to bring him back in without having him wrestle? Or I really,
I even when I watch it on, even when I watch Shane doing the promos, it just, even with the fake crowd, seems quiet when he's talking. But I mean, it's just not something I'm interested in at all. And I think the reasons behind it make no sense. So this might be one of those ones where, coming out of WrestleMania, we'll forget about all the crap before, and it will just be, oh, that was a good match, actually, which I'm hoping. Something, I suppose, if anything positive for Braun is the fact that, he should be winning. If he doesn't win, I'd be very concerned. I don't care which way that would happen, but Braun winning, at least he's doing something, I suppose, rather than nothing. Is something. But as a big man, they've wasted this guy. They've totally wasted it. They'll never get it back either. It would take ages now to sort of get back to where they were with him at once upon a time. I thought he was money, but again, they've not protected him enough. They used to be so good with their big guys, but they've now become just terrible and just everyday guys. As soon as I saw him doing that ridiculous, I think he'd come out as Santa for an advert once, and I was like, why on earth would his character do that? Come on. So Braun Strowman for me gets the victory. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I've gone for Strowman as well, but the more we talk about it, the more I'm doubting that. I think Shano's going to go over, and it's going to be something else to drag it out a bit longer. But one thing I've noticed, I don't know why he started wearing gardening gloves as well to wrestle in Strowman. I'm not sure what part of the character that is. Is he becoming has he got some sort of contract or something?
Yeah, maybe they're setting something up later down the line. Maybe he's going to be the gardener, Braun Strowman.
Barber take in with him, and he'll be the head cutter and,
come out with a different pair of shears. Yeah, could see it now.
I honestly think he's been a bit wasted by them. But at the end of the day, if you were Braun Strowman and you're getting paid to travel the world, to do your workouts, to have your matches, and then you're not even being used in big feuds or anything, you'd probably be quite happy, really, to go along and get your pay.
I think that's half the problem.
Travel the world. And I just think wrestling wise, I'd want him to be challenged more and be like, come on, let's see him wrestle and have a feud and tell a story.
I think that's half the problem, because I remember listening to Stone Cold on his podcast, and he says that the guys and girls today are very different to how they used to be, because back then the guys and girls would demand for more. They wanted more, and the title seemed to have like, it's a big deal. This means something to me. You look at the days of Brett. Brett took that very serious, and people might say too serious. I kind of would rather somebody be like that than just using it as a prop, because nowadays I kind of think the title, whoever they put the title on, isn't always the best guy there. He isn't always the one putting all the asses in the seats and all the rest of it. It's different now. But I wish they'd be a little bit more demanding. But like you say, they might just be like, well, you know what? Got a nice contract. I've got a good lifestyle. I ain't going to complain, because I don't want to be, going elsewhere. But hopefully Braun wins. I'm hoping something good comes out of it for him on this one, at least. That, of course, brings us to what is now confirmed as the main event. Of course, Sasha Banks against, of course, Bianca Belair. I mean, this is... Now, when this first got sort of started, this had a real wave of momentum, Mike. But then hearing a lot of reports and watching some of it as well, it's sort of come off a little bit. I don't know, not as impactful towards the end, which is a bit unfortunate. But this match on paper, you'd think it can deliver. The fact they've got the main event spot is a good kind of confirmation of that. Where are you standing with this as a top match here, Mike, for WrestleMania?
Great. They've done a great job building the ladies up. I think Bianca winning at the Rumble was brilliant. It was her or Ripley were going to win that, and it was really, really well done. She's the fastest, roughest, toughest, quickest, greatest, prettiest, best EST and all that. I think they've done a good job building her. It started with that Chronicles, the documentary about her. She went to university for track and field, didn't she? Went to 3 different universities, had all sorts of bits and bobs happening in her life and everything. She's turned it all round, and the Chronicle was a really great story showing how passionate and driven she is. And then you've got Sasha as well, who's been amazing. You saw Sasha against Bayley, didn't you, in America when you were there for that one? Sasha Banks has been a real driving force behind the women's revolution. She is the boss, and she's going against the EST. And I think the way it's built makes you think that Bianca can't lose, really. But I actually think that Sasha Banks potentially could win this one, and it'll be a crowning moment for her career.
Ooh.
And then I think Bianca will carry on as well and become a great star in the future. But I've just got a feeling it seems too obvious that Bianca's going to win that one, and I just think that it could be a big moment for Sasha Banks, really, to solidify her place at the top. But you've still got. I still don't understand why Bayley's not on the card. And then the other thing was as well.
Well, she keeps
about Becky Lynch, didn't I? So Becky and Bayley going to sneak in here and have a match at some point tonight, or I don't know.
Yeah, the four horsewomen. Maybe they'll come back together again on night 2 for Charlotte. Maybe they'll all be there. Maybe they'll just show up and that's it. We're back. But I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, I think that I'm with you about it's too obvious that Bianca should be winning. But again, sometimes I think with what we do, Mike, and how all the work we do, I think we kind of think that's what we want.
Don't we?
Yeah, and so many times I've been like that, and yet they go with the most obvious all the time. So I got a feeling. I think after last year's, I'm trying to. They certainly sent people off happy after night 1 to come back for night 2. I got a feeling that's going to be the case here, because I think there'd be some sort of bloody uproar. I know what will happen. Trending, cancel Peacock, cancel Network, or whatever else. They ain't going to want that in the next 24 hours. So I've got a feeling Bianca wins this. But I just, more than anything, I would just hope they get the right amount of time. And the reason I say that is because even when that triple threat match was on at the end, they didn't get enough time. I mean, as ridiculous as it sounds, they had to rush it, and it made no sense at the end. It didn't pan off well. It got that reaction at the end of it where everyone's like, what? So I don't want to see that. I'd much rather, whatever it is, I'm happy with whoever wins, as long as they get the time to tell the story, because that's what people go back and remember. Like I said to you when I saw that match in NXT Takeover in New York between her and Bayley, it wasn't. It was about the whole thing, and that's a match that you remember. So I hope that this is one of the same things, that they get the length of time, they tell the story, because that's very important. But I got a feeling Bianca wins. So if I had to put money on it, it'd be Bianca. But it's an interesting point you raise. And do you know what? The odds aren't massively off Sasha. I mean, it's not like Sasha Banks has got crazy odds, if you know what I mean. So even they're a little bit unsure.
I'm looking at 1-6 for Bianca Belair,
yeah,
and 7-2 for Sasha
that's
Banks.
what I mean. That doesn't match up right, really. For a 1-6, I mean, your opponent should be way, like, the odds are crazy. That should be like 10-1 or something. But on the other hand, but there you go. That's what I'm saying. I think they've become more clever. Even though someone's an outright favourite, they're not going to give you a tremendous odd on the other one. So
on the other one, yeah, it's just like
they
might as well not.
It's not
bet,
like
really.
If that was a football bet right there, I mean, the other team would be at least 16-1 or something. There'd be like no chance. So yeah. Anyway, that's
scared. The
the
bookies are scared.
Yeah, they're on it now, mate. They're watching this. They're on it. Get that change, for Christ's sake. Yes. So I want to. Obviously, we've just gone through all the matches there for night one. Now, don't forget, myself and Mike are going to be back tomorrow. So for all those fans that are going to be sitting up tonight, by the way, I've just had a good look on the network at the time, because people have been asking me, what time does it start? Because obviously we're not used to having it this far into April, and our clocks in the UK have changed. So it makes things a little bit awkward to know what's going on. So sometimes WWE are nice to us and they put it back an hour before because it's WrestleMania. They haven't this year, though. So it's 12.
1 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 12 midnight for your pre-show, which, I guess that gets you built up, but don't expect too much. Sometimes that can, it's one of those things with the pre-shows. What they do is they show you all the highlight packages, which is like, you're going to see it on the main show anyway. So it's like, I don't want to keep seeing it over and over again. So sometimes they're good. And whenever they do those panels, I don't care what anyone says, they're never done like, I don't know, like say if we were doing football, and we were going to talk about, right, where does that person need to work on in this match? I want a Jesse Ventura. I want someone to call it out. I don't want to see them just go. You always get like one of them goes for the good guy, one of them goes for the bad guy, and then normally the host is in the middle, and it's like, oh, okay, they're just trying to sell you more. But anyway, 1 a.m. start tonight, WrestleMania. That's when it starts. So it's a long night, and of course, a long night that can result in all kinds of things. And some of you guys, I know you'll be having a good drink, and some pizzas will be coming in, your takeaways, goodness knows what else. So what do you need after a night of WrestleMania? You need a cure, quite frankly. And this is why we'll be back tomorrow. Here we go. Hair of the Mad Dog from 2 p.m. tomorrow. That is what you need. There's your cure. And we will be going through it all, and also previewing WrestleMania Night 2. So there we go. And that's a great shot of you there, Mike. I said the other day, it does you too much justice there.
That's when I was on The Simpsons, was it?
Yeah, his other job. Also, while we're here as well, going to give these guys a quick plug, because they did a great job the other nights of NXT TakeOver. They are back with a pre-show as well. Now, this goes on from 9 p.m. So a little bit nicer. So literally after Powered 4 showcase, you're going to see Games and Graps come up with the Sonny and the gang. They're all there. It was a fascinating show they had last time. I don't know if you caught any of it, Mike, but there was more questions coming in about old TV shows than there was NXT TakeOver, which might show you the state of affairs of professional wrestling at the moment. But if you're into Greengrass and Heartbeat and London's Burning, then I reckon you'll be all ears for it. They're back as well for the second night as well, live up from 9 p.m. So go and check them out as well. It'll be fantastic. Mike, as we're gearing towards it, one of the things I was going to say to you that, I definitely wanted to make room to say is, like, back in the day, before you started to go to these events, did you have a sort of ritual kind of thing that you do for WrestleMania? Like, to get yourself in the mood? Because from my point of view, you know, I'd always do the most ridiculous. This is now, I have to point this out for those younger listeners or younger viewers. I'm talking about a time where we didn't even have a DVD player. To get networks and internet dial-up was a nightmare back then. Okay, it was not the same. It is not something you could just go on. And if you had AOL, you couldn't use your bloody phone at the same time, which was an even more of a headache. So you used to have to time it. But in any case, me and my friend, I'll give him a shout out here now, Darren. We would literally, we'd get all the old VHSs out. We'd shove a couple of WrestleManias in. We'd do our build-up. And then, you know, we'd always get a takeaway of some sort. The beers would go down. And when we were at the races, did you have any kind of rituals or any certain parties or anything like that, Mike, back in the day when you was at school and all the rest of it? Because I remember the school thing come into play. And I turn up on a Monday morning, mate, like, what have you been doing? Watching WrestleMania, God damn it, yeah. But I mean, I don't know if I could do it in this day and age. I mean, it goes on forever. I don't think I could have gone back into school. I think I'd have had to have played a sick card on that one, because there's just no way 8-9 hours. But back then it was 4 hours. It's kind of a little bit more doable. But any stories from you there, Mike, from the past?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm one of these people who doesn't need sleep anyway, so I can. I'd be fine going into school the next day after being up all night. But back in the school days, it was me and the twins, the Hooligan twins. We always used to watch around at theirs, and we'd have the Hooligans' dad rollicking us for making too much noise. Mainly me doing ring announcing and commentary for all the matches and shouting.
Right. Yeah.
In trouble with him. We normally get a few pizzas in, a few bottles of Coke and Fanta and stuff. And then a little bit later on, me and the lads, we're all four horsemen. I'll give them all a shout out to Tony, Matty, and Piers. We would we watch everything, and we normally made Mania a full day, a catch up day, you know, for everyone, because we all work all over the show and stuff. So we make a full day out of it, and then it's always around Matty's birthday as well. He's just had his birthday on the 7th of April this week. So we'd always do something to, you know, meet up with that. And we'd normally go out for his birthday meal or something, you know, to like, we've got an American restaurant by ours, a barbecue place, Hickory's. I know there's a few of them around the UK, but we'd always like go there for a meal and then go out for a few drinks, drink right up until sort of, you know, midnight, last orders on a Sunday night. And then probably pick up a pizza from one of the local pizza places and then get back in time for Mania and watch that, you know, and always a party. Always the WrestleMania shirt is normally on, which I wore for WrestleMania 28 in Miami. Got this horrible pink shirt, and I remember the lads sitting at home messaging me saying, "We can see that horrible pink shirt at WrestleMania 28." You know, someone put a photograph of me in the crowd. They found me in the crowd and paused it and everything. And so the WrestleMania shirt normally goes on for Bants. I might wear that tomorrow for you as a little treat.
Oh, there you go. There's a treat. There's a treat for everybody. There's a reason to tune in. Yeah, my friend at the time, he kind of grew out of wrestling as he went on, but he was a massive Shawn Michaels fan. I was a huge Brett fan, so you can imagine the arguments. Plus, he was Arsenal and I was Tottenham, so it was very competitive. No. Yeah, very competitive. But we got on pretty well, but he was very much into the Shawn Michaels. But we watched it always together from about, I'd say, I want to say 15, WrestleMania 15 probably. But the funny thing is, the day he stopped watching it was the night Shawn retired. So I think that about says it all, really. Once Shawn was done, he was done, and he had no more reason to stick around for. So it's been more of a thing. Now, what about tonight, Mike? Any plans coming out tonight? Obviously in the UK, still, you know, although things are opening up, we still obviously can't be going out and having a big hoorah party, obviously. But what are your plans for this evening? Will you be watching it live, or are you going to do some tonight and some in the morning? What's your plans?
Oh, no, you've got to watch Mania live. No matter what's going on, I have to watch it live. My little lad will be staying up to watch it as well. He's watched the last couple of years, so he's round a little bit later on. I think we'll get some sort of takeout. I think he fancied a McDonald's, so we might go and get a few burgers and fries and stuff, and just have quite a chilled evening leading up to it. We've got Liverpool are on this afternoon for looking forward to added time tomorrow, obviously. So I'll be watching Liverpool this afternoon. Getting ready for added time at 7 tomorrow. Obviously, we've got the WrestleMania special of added time as well.
There we
Look
go.
at that.
7 p.m. tomorrow. Wrestling themed. There's Vinnie Jones there involved. Of course, he was involved with
excellent.
Capital Carnage, if anyone remembers that.
Yeah.
Straight after Lockstock, but it was quite a funny thing between those two. I thought they done quite well. Now, let me ask you, your boy there, who's he into? I'm very interested. That sort of demo as a child. Who is there any favourites that he has outright, or people that he doesn't, dislike completely? Or
he is back in school on Monday.
right,
So, but he really wanted to watch The Fiend versus Randy Orton. He was
right.
interested in that match after seeing the Fiend come back after being burned and seeing him come back. He was really interested in that storyline.
They're
And
selling all the masks as well.
Wrestling, but that's it. So yeah, but he loved that, that scary aspect of it. So yeah, I was just saying the other day, talking about WrestleMania 9, wasn't it? Oh, here's the Afterman.
There he is. There's the boss man, Jay Apter. Let's give them a plug, guys. Go and check out TNT Extreme Wrestling. They've been announcing stuff like a lot recently. Also, Superstar as well. Wrestling that's going to be coming on the horizon. You'll be at as well, Mike. So give those guys a plug. Go over to Powered4.TV. Use that code 90% off. You can watch all of TNT Extreme Wrestling's archive. Some fantastic matches. I would say, and I'll be totally honest with you, this is not me being the seller and all the rest of it, giving out your spiel. But in terms of card booking and match booking, TNT Extreme Wrestling are UK's #1, in my opinion. Just some of the matches you guys have booked up there, you wouldn't have seen anywhere else. So go and check it out on that alone. And also, what do we got here? PL Myers, all the way from Chicago. Good.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. It's going to be a lot easier for you guys out there to watch it, I tell you. It's going to be nice. Wouldn't it be nice, Mike, just to watch it at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. and just chill out, relax, and then go to bed at a reasonable hour. But no, not us, of course.
I travel over there now for it just because of that.
Yeah. Go saves all that, doesn't it? Yeah, you're right. Absolutely saves all that. We're going to play a quick advert here, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk more WrestleMania. I'm going to take all your questions as well because they've been coming in a bit, so I'm going to catch up on them. So all that and more when we return, and I'm sure Mike's got some more stuff to tell us as well for tomorrow on terms of the previews. But here you go. Let's take a look now at Superstar Pro Wrestling. There you go. Some retro type theme going on. Mark Lloyd there just coming in. That looks sick. Well, good. That'll be available on Powered4.TV as well. So really looking forward to it. And of course, if you remember on our channel, Stewie Palmer, who comes on quite a lot, does Big Fight Weekly. Of course, we've done a great show on Friday that dropped. Recommend anybody go and check out that with our MMA wrestling crossover. And we were welcomed as well by Mr. Justin Clapper from Wrestling Travel as well. It was me and Justin sort of on the wrestling side, and Chris and Stu were on the MMA side. But it was a good show. Spoke about a lot of people. Mr. Dan Severin, of course, and all the rest of it, all the crossovers there. But Superstar Pro Wrestling coming soon to Powered4. Be looking forward to that. Let's take a few things then. So I've had some stuff coming in. We've got Rambo. Guys, the True Heel Heat gang think NXT is a third brand. What do you think? Seen as they having takeovers and not on Mania, besides the guys that came back from main roster, their pay isn't the same. Well, I don't know. I mean, I know what SP3 thinks because I watched that show, and got him stirred up, I think. I'll be honest with you, though. I'll go against SP on this one, SP3 on this one, because I actually think that regardless of what Triple H is saying, this is still, to me, not a third brand. Because if it's a third brand, then why aren't we getting the NXT matches at WrestleMania, as you point out there? Plus, their contracts, I know for a fact, are not the same as the main roster guys or on SmackDown, unless they've come back. That's beside the point. But also, the other point to that is I saw recently there was a female wrestler, I forgot her name now. She got a video package that she's going to be debuting. They don't debut anybody else at Raw and SmackDowns like that still. So it's, to me, it's still a way of working people in to maybe the smaller confines of NXT. Now, don't get me wrong, they are on the USA Network, which is probably where Triple H is coming from, because he's got to be seen to say that, because those guys have picked it up. And if they start hearing this ain't on a level, well, what's the point of them having it? So I think sometimes it's more for sort of PR reasons that they say it. But if I'm honest, I don't think it's on the level of Raw and SmackDown. What about for you, Mike? Are you the same as that or different?
I love NXT. I think it's great, but I still feel like it's a bit developmental. It's a way of getting people ready to go up onto the main roster. And unfortunately, I feel like Raw's slipped a little bit. Raw always used to be the showcase show that I wouldn't miss every week. And I feel now like I prefer watching SmackDown personally. And, I'd like it to get a bit switched up. It could potentially be better if it was a third brand and they really gave it a shake-up with a draft. Which I wouldn't be surprised if they did in the future, especially with the way AEW has shaped up, because on a Wednesday night, I would always watch AEW over NXT and then catch up with NXT, live. I was lucky enough to have the AEW on live over here. But I think NXT, what they've put out this week, Stand and Deliver, was absolutely brilliant. It showcased the talent great. There are people on there who are a lot of people who've come through TNT Extreme Wrestling in Liverpool and worked with myself. We've had Walter, Pete Dunne, Jordan Devlin as well. Have all worked at TNT with us and then have gone over to NXT and are being showcased well. But I think some of the guys on it, when I look at it, I watch and I think, oh, Pete Dunne's ready for main roster. That's what I'm thinking when I'm watching it, rather than sort of saying, oh, this is a third brand. I'm sort of thinking, he needs to be on Raw or SmackDown.
Because they repackage everybody too much, like Keith Lee. They give him new music and new attire. It's like, you don't normally tend to see that when a guy from Raw goes to SmackDown or vice versa. That's kind of how I see it sometimes. But yeah,
it's there's still a break, isn't there, between them? I still think it's although
it's not
obviously
to say,
you want it to be a fair balance.
Yeah, I was going to say, to add to that, it's not to say that I dislike NXT because of it. I just think that's how the perception is of it in my eyes. Is it's still not? There's no way it's on a level with Raw and SmackDown, and the way they treat it is still very much the same. It's like they have a special guest sometimes from Raw or SmackDown to give that little extra rating sometimes when they want to do it. So it's not quite there, but it's not to say it's a bad product. Actually, I prefer it a lot more over Raw, to be honest with you. But especially back in the day when NXT was really on fire for that. But Rambo here, I think SP3 dislikes me now. No, he doesn't dislike you, Rambo. You're okay. I heard the show, and I think he made that point that, look, they're New Yorkers, they're very opinionated people. They're going to tell you what they think. They're passionate people. But as they said to you on the show, everybody's entitled to their own thing. He does not dislike you. Trust me. He's very thankful you're watching his stuff. Lewis Young, on the other hand, does believe they are a third brand. So there you go, a bit of a different opinion. Brett Thomas, he's here. I knew it was only a matter of time. Hail, another show. Logomania. Here we are. Can't wait for the game and graps, as I got a story after I mentioned Jeff. Oh, it was you that mentioned Jeff London. Oh my goodness. Can't wait for Mania. Well, there you go. What more can you ask, right? Well, Sonny will be over the moon with that. I'll tell you when I tell him. You wait. He'll love that tonight. But yeah, Logomania is tomorrow night, so we won't get ahead of ourselves because I'll be too excited to get to watch toninet. He's also he's going to get a KFC. So there you go.
That's little a good shout for KFC.
We've had McDonald's, KFC. I tell you, we should get the sponsors here for this. Last one. I was going to say last one round. Looking forward to Powered4 Showcase as well all day, 24/7. You're right. There's loads of wrestling everywhere. To be honest with you, I'm not going to lie, but this is why WrestleMania is such a great weekend for us fans. And obviously, we do get spoiled. I think, Mike, because I know wrestling fans are like, we ain't got enough or whatever. I mean, if you was a boxing fan or I don't know, even football, sometimes it's like the amount you can get, let's say you're signing up for Peacock, £2, I think it's, or not pound, $2.50 is what you got to pay at the moment to get on there. I mean, you are getting the whole network, essentially, most of it, let's put it that way. They are censoring a lot, but you're getting the whole lot plus the 2-night pay-per-view in WrestleMania used to be very expensive. I think between $50 to $60, sometimes.
Yeah.
All the takeovers, Hall of Fames, go back and watch all the previous WrestleManias. I mean, you can't really argue. You can't. It's hard to sit there and be disappointed with too much when they give you so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know quality isn't always there, but it's like really we kind of get a good deal because if we're buying boxing pay-per-views, like I was on the boxing podcast a couple of weeks ago, and they were telling me about how much Pacquiao Mayweather was at I think it was $99. I mean, that's crazy, man. That's I know it's a huge fight, but it's one fight. And as they said, in boxing and other sports like it, that only really works for the casual fans. It's not for the boxing fans, because boxing fans are the ones that lose out on it. They're always invested in all the boxing at all levels. But of course, those names come in and it's like, right, we're going to bulk that price up. We're going to, make the most we can. Whereas us, we are kind of lucky now. We're not in WWE, not in the pay-per-view business, even though they do still sell it on Sky Box Office, which is just insane. How much are they selling that for? I wonder, Mike. Do you know? I'm going to have to look at that up, but
I haven't looked.
whoever's buying that needs to reconsider.
That's it. There's
Yeah.
other ways to get it, guys.
Believe it or not, I read a stat about Royal Rumble that 33,000 people still bought a pay-per-view. So there are still people that are buying it. I know it's a small number, but still, when you think about it,
that's what they do.
I was going to say we used to play top dollar, but Mike, do you agree with that as well? That we are kind of sort of very fortunate. And again, wrestling, even though we've had this pandemic and everything, it hasn't stopped. Rightly or wrongly, it's just been something that's always there. All our sports in the UK were gone. Literally, nothing was taking place for a long old time. So, we are kind of fortunate in that way, I guess, Mike.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, and there's so much on at the moment. This week especially with the Hall of Fame, with NXT, you've had Raw, SmackDown, and then we've got WrestleMania. And not just that, the network has had some great programs on this week. That WrestleMania 22 Untold with Edge and Mick Foley was a great documentary there. That was one of my favorite matches from WrestleMania 22. And the little story about that was really brilliant to watch. I've read a lot about it, obviously, in Mick's books and stuff, but and obviously watched it at the time. But that was brilliant to watch. They've got all the Icon series. There's so much to watch, and I'm loving it. As long as the stuff they're producing is good, I'm happy to see it. Obviously caught up with AEW this week as well, with Mike Tyson involved there, doing great things as well. And it's just a great time for wrestling. We mentioned about Superstar Pro Wrestling coming to Liverpool on the 21st of June. That's going to be their first show. Me and Stu are going to be doing the commentary for that. They've announced some great wrestlers. H, who was our guest on Added Time last week, Sheik El Sham is going to be on there.
I saw the promo. Very good.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah, his promos are great. With the car and everything. I like his style, and he's really got some great content there. I mean, I know he's looking forward to traveling to Dubai to wrestle out there. So make sure you get over to see that guy before he heads off, because eventually he's going to be heading off to bigger and better things. And we've got TNT Extreme Wrestling is on the 26th and 27th. Just starting to announce matches for that now. Big Effing Joe's just been announced to be in the four-way hardcore title match for the Extreme Division champion, and he's a brilliant guy, and he's wrestled for us before, but then he wasn't at DOA last year, unfortunately. But he's going to be back to challenge for the Extreme Division Championship, so that'll be exciting stuff. Looking forward to that. I always love a bit of a death match style match, so something a bit different
for
the fans. That's it,
Mark
exactly.
Lloyd
And
saying
Mark,
WWE Network is well worth. I agree, to be honest with you. You can't really knock it with the amount of stuff on, especially with us at the minute. We haven't lost anything so far. I was just looking. Of course, it's not Sky anymore. It's BT, of course, since they bought the rights. But how much you reckon they're selling that for? £19.95. Think about it. £19.95. Yeah, anybody that has access to streaming or website or whatever, my recommendation: go and sign up for the WWE Network. It'll
is that
be
for both nights, John?
yeah, that's for both nights. Yeah,
Both
yeah,
nights.
both
I was
nights,
going to say I
Saturday and
wasn't sure
Sunday.
if it
But
was 29.
yeah, imagine that. But still, I think last year it was something ridiculous, and I think Sky used to put it up a little bit more. I think BT have kind of been like, okay, clearly they can get it on the network for a 10 quid cheaper with everything else, so it's a difficult thing to try and sell, I think, to people. But yeah, honestly, if you haven't signed up to it now and you're wondering how to do it and you're watching this, sign up with the network. If you've got access to it, that is my recommendation, because you'll get everything else as well, and a whole month. It's not just going to go off after a week. So there you go. There's a plug there for the network in those terms. Sorry, BT, but overpriced for me on that one for a one pay-per-view.
BT
Now,
are
don't
doing
forget,
great, though. I was going to say, John, as
they
well.
are.
They showed
Yeah.
loads of stuff this week. They've done a really good job bringing
Have
it
you
to the fans,
seen
and a lot of adverts and stuff as well.
Have you seen the stuff they've done around London with the art that they've been doing for the shows? I know
Yeah,
BT have
and
been heavily
Glasgow as
involved
well.
in that. It's been pretty cool. Yeah, it's been
They're
really
all
good.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
So don't forget, guys, immediately following this show, you're going to be able to see Powered 4 Showcase. We've been plugging it through the show. So it's going to be literally between 2 p.m. 8 p.m. will be the final match. Now, there might even be a couple of bonus added matches on top of it, but I'm not going to give too much away, so stick around. But if you want to come in and out, that's absolutely fine. But it's just kind of showcases what we've got available on our platform, which is a hell of a lot, really. And we just wanted to celebrate the moment. It's WrestleMania, so that's why we're doing it. Mike, going to come towards the end of the show. Where can we find you, Mr. Angus? I know you'll be back with us tomorrow for Hair of the Dog at 2 p.m. in that T-shirt I'm hoping for. I'm going to hold you to that.
The
But,
WrestleMania shirt is coming out.
Exactly. The WrestleMania shirt has got to come out. Where can we find you on all the socials, my friend?
Yeah, so obviously you'll see me on Hair of the Mad Dog tomorrow. We've got added time tomorrow night on Powered 4 TV
Yep.
at 7
Don't miss
o'clock as
that.
well. WrestleMania special edition with all the football news as well. You can find me on Twitter at Angus Mad Dog, where I'm tweeting my thoughts about WrestleMania tonight. So you can keep your eyes peeled on that. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well if you want to follow me and see what I've been up to. And obviously, check out all my ring announcing on Powered 4 TV for TNT Extreme Wrestling, TNT Ignition Wrestling, and obviously Wrestle Island as well from the Wirral. So yeah,
Yep.
there's loads of places you can check me out. I've done a couple of podcasts, retro review of WrestleMania 17 that's out now as well. Check that out, and also WrestleMania 23 review that I just did about my trip to Detroit for WrestleMania 23, which was a great one. So that's really good fun. If you get a chance, have a little listen to that. This week, I was going to say, John, I've been watching a few random pay-per-views just to get in the mood for WrestleMania myself. So I watched the Belfast Brawl from WrestleMania 24 last night with Hornswoggle and
I remember that.
with
Yeah, that's
JBL.
pretty
That was a
crazy.
great match.
Yeah. Didn't
I
that
don't
kick
think I've
off
ever
that
watched
night?
that
Was
match.
that the first match?
Yeah, and you know what? We had
Yeah.
an issue with the Sky that night, and we didn't
Right.
get to watch any of the pay-per-view till about the end of
God.
the ladder match. So we
Right.
didn't. I don't think I'd ever even seen the match. That's why I went back to
Mhm.
watch it, because it was in a very similar stadium to tonight's one. So I thought I'll check
Mhm.
that out. And I was watching Backlash 2000 as well, which is a pay-per-view I must have watched at the time, but I couldn't even remember. And they had that one stage struck, because that was the one with like the metal sort of tentacles coming down, wasn't it, for Backlash back in the day?
Yeah,
Like them things that came down. And the opening match, and that was Edge and Christian going against X-Pac and the Road Dogg. And that was an interesting dynamic, because the crowd were massively behind DX when they first came out. But then as soon as X-Pac got in the ring to start the match, they started chanting X-Pac sucks at him. And and then it was they were right behind Edge and Christian for that one. So that was a cracking little show. So I'm just working my way through that, watching that again. And yeah, looking forward to WrestleMania tonight. Cesaro versus Rollins. I hope it's going to be a great match. Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, one to look forward to. And let's just hope, like they did last year, that I wasn't expecting much from last year. They more than delivered. It was a bit quiet with no crowd, but it was still entertaining. And I think tonight, with the audience back in, it could be a real special moment for wrestling fans worldwide. And, you don't want to miss it. So make sure you check it out on the network and on BT Sports.
Absolutely. And if you want to come back tomorrow and see egg on our face where we got all the predictions wrong, then this will be the place you can put it in on us. No doubt. If it's on our added time predictions going on that form, we're really out of luck. So don't go on us. I'll tell you that much right now. We haven't got the best track record, but nonetheless, we'll be back tomorrow. It's going to be a great night tonight. Also, we're going to come back tomorrow as well. We've got some really good access to all the photos that are going to be sent to us from night one that we're going to be able to use as well, which is great for tomorrow's show. So that'll be good as well. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day. Don't forget, immediately following this Powered 4 showcase, check that out and enjoy WrestleMania tonight. Myself and Mike will be back at 2 p.m. tomorrow, GMT, for Hair of the Dog. Thank you very much, Mike, for your time, and hope you and your lad enjoy WrestleMania tonight. Get the munchies in, get the food in, and hope everybody else enjoys as well. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and don't forget Games and Graps 9 p.m. tonight. Watch the pre-show. And you'll probably hear more about old TV shows as well, by the sounds of it. But fantastic. See you then, guys.
Thanks, John.
Jockeying for position. Neither man wants to give an inch, but something's got to give at some point.
Up and over goes Pac.